This is our official call to order, November 12th, 2024, meeting of mayor and selectmen. I'd like to ask our city attorney if he would lead us in an invocation, please.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we do thank you and praise you for your abundant grace and mercy. We thank you for the opportunity to serve as it is the hallmark of Christianity, and we are honored to be placed in that position. We thank you for these elected public servants. We thank you for the outstanding employees of the city of West Point. We thank you for those department heads and others who are here. And of course, we're grateful for an interested and involved public, those people who are vested in the welfare of the city of West Point. Sir, guide now our deliberations, our discussions, all that it may be to the greater good of this city. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Mr. Jones, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Entertain a motion to adopt and approve our agenda as printed. So moved. Moved properly second in discussion. All in favor by sign of voting aye. Aye. Any opposed? So ordered. I'll pause right now to say belated Happy Veterans Day to any veterans that we might have in the building. Thank you for your service. I know the official day was yesterday, but I would want to extend that today as well to any veterans that we might have in the room tonight. Is there any old business to claim our attention? If not, before I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, I do have one question, and it's directed to you, Mr. Jones. It's on our income statement. It is under other public services, under airport expense and maintenance. I noticed that we've exceeded that. Can you give me a little backdrop on what that money was spent on?
The only thing I can think of right now is the vertical flare and then
And that wasn't included in the grant that we got? And these are not reimbursable expenses that we can pay?
trying to get it reimbursed. I can't be honest.
Okay, all right. That's the only question that I have. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Moving properly second in discussion. All in favor by sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is so ordered. Agenda item 4, we are now officially in public hearing to address a property that will be listed as a public nuisance. I'll ask our code enforcer to come to the podium, please. And this property that's in question, it belongs to Mr. Willie Gibson, located at 504 East Half Mile Street, parcel number 083B as in Bravo, 411C as in cat, 0130000. What are you finding, sir?
Good evening, Mayor Board.
Good evening.
We have your package, the address of 520 East Morrow Street, belonging to Mr. Willie Gibson. Declared as blighted property.
Okay, and I'll ask the question that I always ask. We are confident that we've done our due diligence and given proper notification.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the board for code enforcer Samuel?
Catching up. Is this on East, it's on East Mall?
East Morrow.
East Half Mile, right?
The reference part.
This belongs to Mr. Willie Gibson.
Okay,
which
yeah,
is-
you're right.
Yeah, his address is,
520.
yes, his mailing address, but the property is 520 East Morrow.
That's correct. Sorry.
It is Ward 1. Right there at the corner of 6th Street. When you turn on 6th Street, turning on East Morrow, the second house to your right-hand side. You know what, the church is on the other side of the church, like right when you're coming back toward 5th Street to the school, right there, that stop sign is gonna be that second house. It's gonna be next door to, Bradshaw.
It's on the right.
Yeah. You know,
Call to order.
Bradshaw, you know where they used to live at right there?
Mhm.
The house next door, right?
Okay. Almost directly across the street from my family's
Yeah,
church.
right.
Okay.
Any more questions for Mr. Samuel? There being none, Mr. Willie Gibson. Mr. Willie Gibson. Mr. Willie Gibson. Does not appear that Mr. Gibson nor a representative is present. Therefore, what is the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we approve this property to be considered blighted.
I second it.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposed? That is so ordered. Agenda item 5 is also, Mr. Samuels, he did a presentation last night, proposing that we add to our current ordinance as it relates to, Code 21-1911. It's a part 2 that actually cuts the red tape when we have to deem a property as blighted. It eliminates a lot of the back and forth and gives us the opportunity to act quicker when we find properties that need attention on that. Do you have anything else to add on that?
No more than just what I spoke about last night. Like I said, just speed the process up and getting property into compliance. But yet at the same time, the statute states the property still has to come before the board before we take part in the second part of it, which eliminates the letters being sent to a board hearing. But once they come before a board hearing, that property right there, we still have 2 years to come in and clean the property with a 7 to 10 day notice. But like I said, in the property, not to exceed yet $1,000 throughout that year.
And this is already included in the state code. We're just pretty much mirroring what the state is already doing. Attorney, do you see any problems with that?
No, it does appear to be consistent with the state statute.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion based on our code enforcement's discussion last night that we adopt the section code 21-1911, part 2 to the city's code. Second.
It's moved and properly second. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposers? That is so ordered. Thank you, sir. Agenda item 6, asking for board approval for permission to award contract for our electric line right-of-way clearing. Is there a representative from Atwell and Jim? It looks like the lowest bid was presented by W.A. Kendall and Company. Is that correct? In the amount of $531,638.14. Any questions? What do I hear?
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we accept the lowest bid from recommendation from Atwell and Gent for the bid of $538,000 and whatever the amount you said. I couldn't write that fast.
Second.
Moved properly second that we accept this bid. Any discussion? All in favor by a sign of vote aye.
And I would like to note that that bid came in less than what we had anticipated during the budgetary planning process.
That is accurate. Agenda item 7, asking for board approval, permission to advertise for construction on our electric vehicle fast charging station. This, again, is an endeavor that's being headed by Atwell and Gent. We've been in discussion for quite some time about a potential fast charging station. It will be located across the street from Anthony's. I forget the geographic, the size of it, but it'll be 2 charging stations, if I'm correct.
2 charging stations, I think it's only $400 to be handicapped.
So,
About 25 feet wide.
so this request is to give permission to advertise for the actual companies that will be performing the construction on this charging station. What's the pleasure of the board? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Move properly second in discussion.
And we did verify with the development that's going on that property that their needs of extending their parking lot was not going to interfere with where the charging station is going to be.
That is correct. they are well aware of where their boundaries lie. And I don't think they'll intrude. Any more discussion?
Mr. Mayor, how many are we gonna have?
Two charging stations,
Two
from my
charging.
understanding.
And they'll be credit card operated.
Any more discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Agenda item A, you have in your packets a letter from the West Point Planning and Zoning Commission. This request for approval is relevant to the issuance of a major conditional use permit for property located at 619 Commerce Street. There is a young lady who is proposing to put a restaurant in that facility. The restaurant is proposing to sell liquor and beer. They've gone before the planning commission. We do have a favorable letter from the planning commission to act on, to vote up or down tonight. Any questions, discussion? Johnny, do you have any observations on this?
Is there anyone here to provide further information to the board on this issue?
Is Ms. Sierra in the? Hello.
Hello.
Can you kind of just give us an overview of what your intentions are?
I'm opening up a soul food restaurant. I'll be offering liquor and beer beverages, just serving along with the food or whatever you in the restaurant.
Have you gotten a license from the state for
I
ABC
have
for
to
liquor
get
license?
a permit first. I have to go through this process first.
Okay.
Then I have to go before the ABC to get it approved by them.
What's gonna be your hours?
Right now it's 11 to, I think our closing time for alcohol is 10 here.
Okay.
More questions? Ms. White,
No,
do you have any questions for us?
no.
All right, can we get a statement from the building department concerning this? Come to the podium, please, sir.
Mayor, at this time, I don't really have any concerns, as far as what she's doing. We had some talk about whether it was gonna be wine and beer or hard liquor. I don't know if that makes a bit of a difference, if there's any clarity in that, like top shelf liquor, But other than that, there was no, as long as she's in compliance with, getting the contractors that she need to do the due diligence of the build out. Other than that, we don't have anything. I don't have.
And you have a punch list of items that have to be addressed as far as construction is concerned?
Absolutely.
Were you present for the planning commission here?
Yes, sir.
And the planning commission walked through all of the various itemized standards of review for this?
They did.
And there was an affirmative finding that it met each of those requirements under the standards?
It did. Yes, sir.
It met each of those requirements under the standards?
It did. Yes, sir.
Why is it a major conditional use? What's the difference between what she's doing and the permitted use for that area?
So, basically, what she's doing is no different from, Anthony's or, Ritz. The only thing is that some of them have, how do you pronounce it? Resort conditions.
I got you.
But other than that, there's no difference in anything. that's why the board, came up with, agreements to send it over to the board.
Okay, and so the letter from the planning commission indicates that it would align with the overall goals of the community development, that sort of thing, which is the overarching piece. But what you're telling us is that they walk through each of the items that they're required to walk through, and that this board, as a part of its decision here, can be assured that there was a positive finding on each of those items as stated in the development code. Is that right?
That's absolutely. The only thing that lingered was the liquor. And it was, like I said, between wine and, beer versus hard liquor, top shelf liquor. So we didn't know that there was a fine line. They didn't know, so that's why everything else was met to standards and to be okay, and then it's forwarded to the board.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, so questions?
Any more questions, concerns from this board? If not, what do I hear?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to go ahead.
Motion that we accept the recommendation of the planning commission, as stated.
Second.
Been moved and properly second, any discussion? There being none, all in favor by sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? It is so ordered. Agenda item 9 is also relative to a letter that is in your packet from the West Point Planning and Zoning Commission. It is in relation to a property located at 380 Dunlap Road. They were requesting a major conditional use as well for the construction of a duplex on this site. You have the letter in your packet. It is also favorable to the request of the property owner. Any discussion, any questions?
I would also like to add in the packet, there's letters from the surrounding property owners endorsing the major conditional use for the improvements that's going to be made to the property.
Right.
And this property is adjacent to the fire station number 2 on Dunlap.
That's on your side? It's on two sides.
On two sides, on
Okay.
one side.
I don't think we'll get much pushback from anybody that's providing rooftops in West Point at this
That's right.
stage.
That's right.
In my understanding from the planning commission, the developer is building the 2 duplexes side by side, whereas one is going to be kind of his residence when he's in town, and the other one, he's just wanting somebody to be living on the property all the time. And so that was the reason for having the two units side by side with the 2 car garages and all that.
Correct. Any more discussion? What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Been moving properly second in discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I take it that the motion includes the adoption of all of the individual findings by the planning commission as set forth in the packet. That's what this board has to do, that's specifically
All separate
make
steps.
all of those findings. And so I assume that the motion includes an adoption of all of those findings for purposes of our minutes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Are we clear on that, Madam Clerk?
Do I
Any more-
need to add to that or?
Our minutes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Are we clear on that, Madam Clerk?
Do I
Any more-
need to add to that or? Yes, okay.
Any more discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I think I need to add to it, the motion.
Okay, I think she got it.
You got it? Oh, I thought he said I need to add to it. Okay.
If that's our understanding of what your motion is.
Yeah, it is, okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Agenda item 10, asking for board approval for a memorandum of understanding from the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration in the amount of $250,000 for Senate Bill 2468, subsection C, and to authorize the mayor to sign all documents pertaining to it. Now, a little backdrop on that is we were awarded an allotment thanks to the hard work of our state delegation Senator Turner Ford, Angela Turner Ford, and Representative Carl Gibbs, we were fortunate enough to be awarded an additional $250,000 for the purpose of paving our roads, which everybody who's paying attention can see we've done an extensive job on paving the streets, and that will continue. This is just a continuation of that, but they've thrown some new caveats, if you will, in the process. And so we have to adopt a memo of understanding as it relates to the allotment that we will be getting. Any questions, concerns? And this motion, if there be one, gives me the authorization to execute all documents pertaining to this issue.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration for the amount of $250,000 for Senate Bill 2468, and also giving you authorization to sign all documents pertaining to this.
Second.
Moving properly second, in discussion. All in favor by sign of voting aye. Any opposers? So ordered. In like manner, agenda item 11 is also a memo of understanding. The Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration. The only difference is this is subsection EA. It's another memo that we have to adopt in order to proceed with expenditures of these funds.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the Senate Bill 2468 subsection EA, and to authorize you to sign all paperwork pertaining to it.
Second.
Moving properly second, in discussion. All in favor by sign of voting aye. Any opposers? It's so ordered. Agenda item 12, asking for board approval to establish a segregated bank account to house these funds under section Senate Bill 2468. This is inclusive of subsection C and subsection EA. We need board approval to open an additional bank account to house these funds, as they can't be commingled. Two accounts, they cannot be commingled, is the way I understand it.
May I make a motion that we approve the establishment of two bank accounts to, for the fund for Senate Bill 2468.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second, in discussion. All in favor by sign of voting aye. Any opposers? That is so ordered. Agenda item 13, asking the board to fill a vacancy on the Housing Authority Board of Directors, which was vacated by our own Mr. Cole Bryan upon his election to Ward 5 Selectman. He had to relinquish his seat on the Housing Authority Board of Directors. This term runs through January of 2026. Whomever is selected, the three names that I have that have expressed interest in this position is Ms. Margaret Shelton, Ms. Janice Andrews, and a Mr. Henry Chairman. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion for Ms. Margaret Shelton, fill this vacancy.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second, in discussion. All in favor by sign of voting aye. Any opposers? It is so ordered. I think Ms. Shelton is in the audience. Congratulations, ma'am. I know you do a fine job. Agenda item 14, I think is probably more of a discussion item than a
Yes,
approval.
sir. Talking with our director, Chris Cox, we're gonna meet next week and just do a ride around or walk around basically and check the status and then the condition of walking sidewalks in the town, what we can do internally, and then to develop an overall plan of what's needed to move forward. I know we're probably light on funds for this year's budget, but at least get a plan and get the things that we can take care of and start improving the walking conditions.
I think that's much needed. Any more input on that item? Not, moving on to agenda item 15. Asking for board approval to accept the best bid for refuse bags. This is our trash bags, the vendor that we buy from. Now, we had 2 bids. I think it's worthy to note that the bid that is proposed to be accepted is not the lowest bid, but I think our obligation is to get the lowest and best. And so quality kind of overrode on this situation. It's not the lowest price, but it is the best, the better quality bag. And so the request is to go with Dynapack. Concerns, discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the bid from Dynapack as the best bid for
Second.
our refuse bag.
Moved and properly second in discussion.
If everybody remembers, we tried to go the lowest route one time, and it created so much havoc in town, we were all fixing to have to find a new place to live. The elected officials, I mean.
It's always good when your garbage bags actually will hold the garbage.
That's right, that's right.
Any more discussion? All in favor by sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? So ordered. Moving to department head reports, starting with Mr. Longstreet.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Other than what's in the department head report, and you also have the financials for both the ward and electric department. The next will be the personnel status, board and mayor. We have several resignations for the board to accept since our last board meeting. I was not able to be here last month. First will be Devin Jones, teller / billing assistant's resignation, status form, the letter of resignation in your packet. Devin Jones.
What do I hear?
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we accept Devin Jones' resignation.
Second.
Moved and properly second in discussion.
Have we got a replacement for his position?
Not at this point. We've advertised.
Any more discussion? All in favor by sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? So ordered.
Next will be the resignation of Ben Davis, journeyman lineman in the electric department.
What do I hear?
Make a motion that we accept the resignation from Mr. Ben Davis.
Second.
Then moved and properly second in discussion.
Did Mr. Davis indicate what his career opportunity was?
Yes, he was moving to go to Alltech and better pay and no cost of health insurance for the family,
Okay.
which he said would be automatic $800 pay increase.
How long had Mr. Davis been with the city?
I think he's been with us 11 years. It's an opportunity that he could not pass up, starting him out at what he's making, and then every 3 to 6 months he'd be eligible for a rate increase versus every 2 years.
Any more discussion? All in favor by sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? And so ordered.
Next, resignation of the Lyndon Robinson, A.L.K. Robinson, as an apprentice lineman. We had the interview on all of these, board and mayor. He's going to work for the private contractor, making tremendous amount and receiving even pay for travel and lodging, which is a tremendous amount if what he's told me was true. But anyway, that's what he was leaving going to. Companies in Louisiana.
What do I hear?
Make the motion that we accept the letter of resignation from Mr. Robertson.
Second.
Moved properly second in discussion. All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposed? I will, for the purpose for benefit of the board and any other interested parties, in response to these resignations, I have reached out. I had Mr. Jones reach out to a company in Memphis who, as I found out, I ended up talking to him later this afternoon. They don't actually do contract linemen, but he knew of several entities that he would recommend, and he's supposed to be emailing me those contacts, and I'll follow up with them. But my thought process, and the board can tell me whether you think it's a good idea or we do something different. But my thoughts are, we can't control what people do. If they want to move on for whatever reason, we cannot control that. But to ensure that we're not caught in a bind in the event of us having a weather event where we need hands on deck, I'm trying to see about entering us into a contractual agreement with a contracting company that contracts linemen in the event that you need them. So they're kind of on standby. You use them when you need them. It's not a constant cost, so they won't be on our payroll daily. Because reality is, you know, a lot of days there's not a whole lot of activity that requires an entire, crew. But we do know that periodically we have inclement weather that comes through and requires us to have more hands on deck than what we currently have in our staff. So that's kind of the angle that I'm approaching. We can't control people resigning. I'm just trying to come up with some kind of solution so that the city of West Point is not caught in a bad position in the event that we need. Any thoughts? Any more suggestions?
Sound good, Bishop.
And in light of that also, Mayor, I didn't make the LPC local power company managers meeting, but also have reached out to all of those 13, which will be 12. We make 13 that if at any point in time that we might find ourselves in a situation, would they be willing to help out in those cases? Of course, the closest to would be start from Columbus, and then of course next would be Oklahoma and Aberdeen and Amory.
And we'll be fine. We'll rebuild, but in the interim, I just want to make sure that we're not caught in a bad position. I know that we're approaching, some weather seasons, and it's unpredictable of what could possibly happen. And I'm just trying to be proactive in the event that something does happen. We're not sitting here twiddling our thumbs trying to figure out what we're going to do. Any more discussion on that?
And you had mentioned that exit interviews have been done
Yes, ma'am.
on everybody. What's that procedure? What's that procedure for the exit interview?
I call them in and give a verbal explanation as to why they're leaving, and is there anything that we can do to change their mind and where they're going and why they left. And it's all been because of money. And I will say, board, that the mayor has met at least 3 times with the entire crew to get feedback from them, as well as the meeting we had with the utility committee. That's the third one. And after they have another meeting to try to find out why they're leaving, what's called, if it's morale, whatever. And every time, if I'm not wrong, Mayor, it's been money.
We're the ones that were willing to give feedback.
Right.
Sometimes there was no feedback. Again, I can't control people's thought processes and their reasoning. All I can do is react to actions.
And I will say, all, including us, all municipalities, when the dynamics come open, all communities are going to find this is going to be an issue where people moving, these younger people are not quite as committed and stable to, long-term employment. They're looking for the next best job and next best dollar.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I think there's always going to be a market and a need for linemen. We just got to find the right people.
Right.
And make sure that they're hired properly, trained properly, and motivated properly. So we'll be working on that.
And we do have a recommendation for one Herbie Devon Alday, who formerly was a lineman, journeyman with the city, who's indicated interest in coming back. You have the status form in there. And we recommend, if the board will accept, that we offer Devon Alday an opportunity to come back and help out. You see the effective date and all of the necessary information that is in the status form.
Have we worked out a schedule with him? Do we know kind of what to expect as far as his availability?
He's available 5 days, working with one of the apprentices, and of course, he can't cap out what he's eligible to make, and that's on the form there. But he's willing, he's trained, well knowledgeable, and would ride with one of the apprentices and is able to do anything that the current experienced lineman journeyman is able to do.
Okay, so who's gonna monitor that? Because he's got some stipulations, he can't make over a certain amount, so.
Technically, it's the employee's responsibility, but we'll talk with him to let him know that on the front end HR.
Okay. If we can find out, kind of get a plan on him, like reverse engineer, he knows he can only make X amount of dollars, which would equate to him working X number of hours per week, pending we don't have an event.
It's on here, the maximum that he can make.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does that equate to as far as how many hours is available per week? I mean, I see what he can make, but
Yes.
that's a question for a later date. I don't expect you to do that math right now.
It's less than 1,000 hours a year if you base it off of the hourly rate, because if you can't make the 30,000,
So 50% of the time. he'll be
50% of the time, and what we don't need, if we're working 5 days a week, then that's less than 6 months of clock time.
Well, then obviously we can't work him 5 days a week.
Yeah, and my recommendation would be on our entered apprentice, how far along are they in the learning process of making that next step to the journeyman, or to the step, is the step in between, or?
Well, we're gonna try to look at it in January because we're down now to just 4.
I know we got 2 journeymen and 2 entered apprentices.
Yeah, and
So my question is, how far along are they in their process? Because I mean, sometimes you got a quick learner and someone just picking it up.
well, you got one that's quick learner than the other.
Okay, well, my recommendation, because of the limited time with Mr. Alday and his expertise, then put him with the strongest and fastest learner, and that way, hopefully, we can get him expedited to the next level before Mr. Alday's time runs out. And let me ask you this, that apparently we can work him 5 days a week for the rest of this year,
Yes.
because he won't exceed
Right.
in November and December that, so you can work him as much as you want. That clock starts in January. And so I'm not telling you how to,
It's a fiscal year.
but I'm talking, no, the fiscal year is our part. His salary income is on the taxable income, is it not?
On his salary?
On his salary, on what he can't exceed based off his social security and his retirement. Okay, well, I stand corrected. I thought that would have been following the tax season.
I would
What you have thought?
Still, we're deep into the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the math can be worked out.
And then we do have some applications and have a good one today, so hopefully next month we'll come back with another recommendation.
If you have an application that's a strong candidate, if it requires a special, I don't want to speak on behalf of the mayor, but if we have somebody, I don't want to wait till next month. We've gotten to the point of waiting is critical. Does the board agree or disagree, or?
I agree.
All right.
Anything else? Then we
We gotta make the motion on Mr.
So
Alday.
what do we hear on Mr. Alday?
I make the motion that we accept the recommendation to hire Mr. Devon Alday under the requirements here on the recommendation.
Second.
Been moved properly second, any discussion? All in favor by sign of voting aye. Any opposed? So ordered.
Recommendation, mayor and board to accept the resignation of Mr. Brad Nestor, accountant, effective November 22nd. He's going to work in Hoover, Alabama with the city of Hoover, with his, and I think he's pursuing some other interests, but nevertheless, he made me aware of it, did the exit interview with him. He just told me it was an opportunity of a lifetime. He just could not turn it down. Ask if there's anything that we can do. And of course, naturally, we can't match that salary.
What do I hear?
Make the motion that we accept the letter of resignation of Mr. Brad Nestor.
Second.
Been moved and properly second in discussion.
Are we prepared to advertise for that position?
We are, yes. Mayor advised us to start advertising as of today, to start advertising for that position and seeking applicants.
Question, who would be, filling his spot until we get someone else?
Well, Tanya's ended the October closeout. I think he wants to be able to close out the October before. He's willing to help anybody, and Taylor has some experience there. But we've talked with the mayor, and we're gonna probably have to secure either getting some assistance from Walker Ward staff in the interim.
CFO Natasha Rose has indicated that she would help out where needed to.
Okay.
We'll bandage it up until we.
And you have two recommendations.
Somebody in his spot. Thank you, sir.
Have two recommendations, mayor and board. As a result of that, we've had to ask, and we met the utility committee, the mayor and I, two individuals, Kirk Ward and Darryl
We
Thomas.
never voted on it. We just
Oh,
accepted
sorry.
the letter of resignation. We made the motion and seconded, and then he opened it up for discussion. Did we vote on it?
Well, what do I hear? All in favor, by sign of vote. Any opposed?
Did we vote on it?
Well, if we did, we can twice vote. Duly noted.
Okay,
Go ahead.
you have the two, that as a result of additional duties and responsibilities of the committee, and you have a recommendation of what the recommendation of the increase for both Kirk Ward and Darryl Thomas, and the recommendation on your status form there. For the additional duties and responsibilities that have been performed by them both administratively, and they've split in half.
Okay, so due to, some key people leaving, it's thrusted these two gentlemen into a role where they have to assume more of a supervisory, type capacity. And that's the justification for this, $5 per hour increase. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this is for both Darryl Thomas and, Kurt Ward.
Yes.
And they're essentially, Brad Davis was the, top lineman, I don't know what you call it, head lineman or whatever the case may be.
He's the lead line.
And they're splitting those duties,
Right.
basically.
Mr. Mayor, are you ready for a motion?
I am.
I make the motion that we approve the $5 per hour increase for Mr. Darryl Thomas.
Second.
Moved and properly second in discussion. All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposers? So ordered.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the $5 per hour increase for Mr. William Kirkwood.
Second.
Moved and properly second in discussion. All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposers?
Mr. Mayor, do we need to make a motion to approve the advertisement of the light and water accounting position to advertise?
Do you need a motion for that? Do you need a motion for that? I mean, I guess for clarity of the minutes, go ahead.
I recommend that, board, if you would, authorize the, advertising for accounting for the Westmoreland Electric System.
Second. Moved and properly second in discussion.
Question, does we need a motion for the last one too? For advertising,
For which one?
for our alignments that we're looking for?
No, we'd already advertised for that.
We already advertised for that,
As well as
okay.
cashiers as well.
Okay.
Already make that. We got one last
Hold on,
recommend.
hold on. Any more discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposers? So ordered.
We have a last recommendation there for travel for Lonzo Riley to attend the building official meeting in Natchez of December 4th through the 6th,
In Natchez.
Natchez, Mississippi.
Okay, is this the one you mentioned last night?
You said that was an option.
That's for the 23rd, that's for free.
And when is it again?
December the 4th through the 6th, and I don't know when our December meeting, can wait for December.
Well, ideally, they appear on the work session and we have time to deliberate it.
All right.
I'll leave it up to the board on that.
Just came in.
Do we have Cost, how much is it gonna cost?
Yes, sir. The registration is $250 and the,
That's what we discussed last night.
we may have to do this in a special call meeting. We'll probably have to have some, we'll do it in a special call meeting.
Let's get our ducks in a row
We'll do
now.
a special call meeting because we're gonna have one for the recommendation of the employee. For December. That's all I have unless there's.
All right, any more questions for Mr. Longstreet before we proceed? Thank you, sir. Mr. Riley? Any, questions for Mr. Riley, Building Department? Chief Wilbur?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Other than what's in my packet, all I've got is, the turnout gear that we've been bouncing around with and all that. We're ready to pull the trigger on that. The size for it, we've got quotes on it. And just y'all's permission to spend the money that's already in the budget.
Yeah, I don't think you need our permission to,
Okay, well, just to inform you that we're gonna spend it.
Right.
It's 3 months out on the, it's gonna be 3 months out because it's such a pretty, fair size amount. It's gonna be 3 months out on the, before it comes in, so it'll be 3 months out on the invoice, so we've got time for taxes to keep coming and rolling in. And then also, we've got one other purchase to do, which is gonna be off the Homeland Security grant, which is reimbursable. It's gonna be somewhere in the $19,000 range.
and that is for what, the air pack?
Bit bags.
And that's the one we got the grant for, right?
Yes, that's the
It's
one we
like
got the
I said,
grant for. It's
reimbursable.
not, it's 100% match.
I got you.
It's just reimbursable. So if the money would have to come out, then we'd have to turn around
Put the
and
money back.
state reimburses. But other than that, that's all I've got.
Any questions for Chief Wilbur? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Public Works, Mr. Cox?
Public Works,
Any questions for Public Works? Chief Cook?
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief.
I have three things. First one, I ask the board to accept the resignation of Jared Bell.
I make the motion.
Second.
Moved to proper second and discussion. All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposed? So ordered.
Next, I have two officers that I want to present. They're both certified. One is coming from Columbus and one is coming from Jackson. The first one is Kevin Smiley.
Kevin Smiley, has he worked here before?
He has,
Did he leave on good terms?
he did.
What do I hear on Mr. Smiley?
Make the motion that we, take chief recommendation, hire Kevin Smiley.
Second.
Moved and proper second and discussion. All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposed? So ordered.
The next one is Robert O'Brien.
Which one's from Jackson?
He's Jackson.
O'Brien from Jackson. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and properly second in discussion. All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Any questions for PD? We got two of our vehicles in today, right?
We got the first two of the 9 vehicles today. So, we'll have the pickup truck in order, we'll have it by Friday. And after that, come in 2 at a time.
We can run some of these Hellcats down. Any more questions for Chief Cook?
Chief, what we had on the new cameras, some more cameras up? What you said, what we had on? Yeah, the new cameras.
Are there any new?
Any cameras? She's still building, we got 4 cameras left, and she's in the process of building all 4 so she can hang them all at the same time. So I talked to her last week, and she said it'd be a couple of weeks before she can get that done. But once she get them all built, we have all 8 of them up at that time.
So the last 4, that'll be the end of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Till we get our, money that you want DC and get.
That'll be the last.
Just gotta
one.
make
We
a couple
agree,
calls
but
and get it.
With the money that we have secured, the money that we secured from Washington will allow us to put more cameras up, correct? Once that starts coming in.
That is correct. We are awaiting for knowledge of the general public. We're waiting to get the final okay on $1 million, I think they call it congressionally directed spending now, from DC. Once we get that, it has to be in the interest of public safety. Our plans are to invest in more cameras, invest in metal detectors in our city-owned assets as well as the schools. And we can buy more police vehicles with it, I think are the only things that the money can be allotted for. And that's the plan. We're waiting on the final word from Washington. We're hoping, since the election is behind us, we'll be hearing something in pretty short order. Any more questions for Chief Cook?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Park and Rec?
Just what's on my report.
And you did say last night that they were through doing the electrical work?
Yes, sir.
Any update on the pickleball?
The, Thomas Spradlin and the plan together. The, Mississippi Bid, summer.
Okay.
Last week.
Do we have pretty good traffic at the dog park?
Yes. Yeah, we closed up there today. But now that the weather's getting cooler, the stuff are starting to come back out.
What sports we in now, and what sports we gonna go into?
Flag football and soccer right now, and then going into basketball. We'll be using the, Southampton field.
What's the nature of the electrical work? Is that the way you describe it, as electrical work?
You know, it's installed ground bushings, so in case there's something in there for it, like the structure, just to allow electricity to run all the way. So it's a safeguard.
Who's doing that work?
Any electronics, I like her.
Could you make me a file of that? All of the documents related to
Yes,
this?
he also emailed me where he tested each individual pole, so I've got all that information. So you can say, this is all of it.
I thought we requested in Monday morning meeting that the attorney be in the loop on all the stuff that's being done up there. I remember saying that in Monday morning meeting.
He just emailed me yesterday on the final things, all of that.
If there's any other work, will you copy me on the front end for obvious reasons on that issue, sir?
Any more questions for Park and Rec? All right, Deputy CAO?
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Other than what's on the report, as the issue that was brought up is going to be where we're going to be meeting for the next 5 months, starting in January. I reached out to our city attorney. He will advise us, and also reached out to Ms. LaFrance Boyd. However, she was in court today, and hopefully she'll return my call tomorrow. I have taken the opportunity to speak to one or two supervisors, and so far I have their support if that's where we'll have to be meeting at the county, since it's already set up for like board meetings. That's Mr. Jones' recommendation.
I can comment on that as well, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Carruthers. What I recommend is that for the December board meeting, we actually pass a resolution regarding where those meetings will take place for that period of time. Then after that, of course, we'll post notices both online and here at City Hall in our meeting place. But if we know where that's going to happen, we're just going to put a resolution in place so that we formally establish the meeting place.
Just for argument's sake, and I really appreciate the county being cooperative, but always when you're borrowing somebody else's belongings, they have the risk of conflict for when we need it. Would it not be that for, like, we own the Civic Center, we control the Civic Center, and we have the scheduling and everything?
Well, that was my suggestion, but I think there was some pushback for using the Civic. At least I thought I heard some discontent with using the Civic.
And then a secondary location would be the McClure building. That downstairs is, the room is big enough. And they have plays and theater stuff there all the time, so I do know they have a sound system. Yeah, the Arts Council, for the, across the street.
Right.
That we do have. I'm just suggesting. Because what we'd hate to happen is we have a scheduled board meeting and the county has some, you know what I'm saying? Something conflicts with it.
Do you have an opinion, Mr. Jones, one way or the other?
Just now, I hadn't thought about the Louise Campbell Center. However, the Board of Supervisors, where they have their meetings, it's already specifically set up for them, circuit court, that kind of. And
All right, well, we'll put our heads together and come up with how long do we have to advertise that before the actual, I guess we gotta have a public hearing at the next meeting? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think we just adopt a resolution that the meetings will be held, and one, that provides at least a month of notice.
Yeah, I think that's a lot too.
Yeah, and that in and of itself provides a whole month, and then we publish, and then out of an abundance of caution, we just put a notice here at City Hall and online in advance of every meeting.
All right, well,
I
does the
think
board,
too, I think too, if we gonna use the civic center, we should just block off all those Tuesday night, don't worry about nobody. That way we, for sure we got it.
it's rarely used on Tuesday
That's what I'm
nights
saying.
anyway,
Right.
to my knowledge.
Room too, this room, that's good.
So am I hearing that the board, y'all pretty much fine with wherever we decide?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, we'll come up with a place and make that happen. Anything else for, Deputy CAO Carruthers? Ms. Dot, do you have a report for Tori?
Yes.
Right.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
They always want something.
Besides what's in this report, I want to add two things. And I also want to just point out one of the things in this report. I'm the long-term coordinator. 20 families we help keep the utility bills from being turned off. We assist a little bit and they do the rest. That's where we work it. 2 families to the food pantry. 1 homeless we assist. 1 hot food. We give vouchers and they go to Sunflower, we give them hot food. And 2 special cases working on, 1 with water issue and the other with heating needs. And emergency management says they're expected to get an inch of rain tomorrow, maybe a thunderstorm, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour. That's for him. Also,
Is that early?
Also, ADA, the American with Disability Act compliance audit for the Civic Center used as a disaster recovery center went well. He's waiting on the official results. They like all the upgrades. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr.
CAO Jones?
All you have a report there, one of the good things, sure, it came along, Monday, I think it was. We got our MDOT permit for the underbore of the highway. I think I'm down to 3 of 8 easements I need to get signed. The property where we're gonna be working for the new sewer line. And I don't expect to have any difficulty with those. And as long as we're done, it's about the first of the year. You still back there?
Yes, I'm still here.
As long as we get done before the first of the year, we're good.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I don't anticipate any problems with those. Don't know that I mentioned it specifically, but we did get an additional $650,000 for the airport. Where the T hangar is down there, there's some solid area between the parking spots. And we got $650,000 to pave all of that with concrete in there, so we won't have to be mowing and bumping into airplanes or slinging rocks or anything like that. And they're planning to advertise for that construction. And we did clear all the construction that was ordered by the FAA on the north end. It cost us a little money, as I mentioned earlier. I will try to get whatever reimbursement I can for that, keep us back in line. We did sign the contract for the police department's vehicle. And I'm continuing with cemetery deed with stuff, and I'm hoping to reach out to a couple of folks to see if they will take it over for us. And, just so you know, there's a mandate out to update new flood maps for the county, which includes the city, and that has to be done by January. I'm going to get their draft ordinance and start going through and modify it to what they're requiring us to do. The only thing I didn't agree with, and at the last conference I went to, I talked them into, they decided that they ought to tell us who ought to do the substantial damage assessments for storm damage, and they wanted to be the floodplain administrator, whoever that may be. I think it's fine if they tell us we have to do it, but I don't think the state has any business telling who in the city is going to do it. If that's what the city decides, that's fine. But I can tell you when it happens, when Tori was here, when we go through these floods like we've seen in the past, you stay busy for almost 2 months a lot of times. You got 40 or 50 structures that are damaged. And I don't mind doing them. The problem is it sure detracts from my normal duties. Since I do that as a sideline with the city and the county. But at any rate, we got a lot of holidays coming up. I urge everybody to be careful, particularly Thanksgiving week. And Christmas won't be far behind it. And of course, the airport's closed for the major renovation out there. $1 million plus going on. We got this additional $650,000, so it's going to be a big boost for us. And consequently, with the airport closed, you don't sell a lot of fuel. So I didn't have a number for you. You can drive up there in your car if you want to put 100 octane low lead gas in your car if you wanted to. Won't be having any airplanes coming and going.
Mr. Jones, on the airport, how many current tenants do we have that's leasing?
I think there's 12 down there now.
Okay.
And they have offered the sale, first consider the sale or purchase of the DDoS hangars. It's a little bit of conflict here. When they bought those hangars, they basically were personal property. So, any personal property that's abandoned on the airport, which the airport is built with federal and state funds, reverts to the airport or to the owners there. So I don't know if we can offer anything, but the best we could do, if y'all willing to do it. The only suggestion I got about that, there's one hangar down there that will, until we get the intent is to tear that one down and build a new hangar, pretty much free money. An FBO, it would increase the traffic in and out of there, but it would be a good source of income for hangar rental space, probably several $100s a month. Currently we get about $7,000 a year off the D hangar. And if we had that hangar, you could easily charge well over $100 a month. You could put about 3 or 4 airplanes in there. The other hangar where they're currently storing some of their merchandise from Gary Pond. They bought the facility at Tommy Riddle Home over there on Old White Road. They're going to use that. They'll be moving that stuff out of there to that storage facility over there, which offers another hangar, put at least 2 airplanes in. And that's how you can get market on the enclosed hangar. It's pretty high right now as far as those go. And I can tell you, I got a waiting line that long, people with more hangar space, so it wouldn't be any problem. But I have to talk with our attorney, see what our options are.
It doesn't sound like it's abandoned, or at least one of them. Right? Is it, right?
Well, it's abandoned. I don't think that they got any airplanes in there anymore. If they do, they belong to one of the other tenants. But they're still paying the rent on both hangars, $100 a month.
Okay.
And, so if we decide to go that way, and if it's legal, you know, I don't wanna buy something, I'm gonna tear it down if I don't have to. But in the meantime, the grant money, you know, to build another hangar, it's not gonna come tomorrow. It's gonna be another year, 18 months or more before we get in that hole. But we could use it for rental space.
Question, how many hangars we got on property now?
There's three, and a T hangar, which is different than the enclosed. 3 enclosed hangars, and 1 T hangar. And that belongs to us. The other hangar, the big hangar, we're drawing rent on it as well, was built by Ellis Steel. They donated it to the city in return for a recurring lease, 15-year lease on it. So they get it, and they pay $100 a month for the land. Shared by Mafia, Ellis Steel.
Couple of questions for you, Mr. Jones.
Sure.
Have you gotten with, Public Works Director, on that honorary Silas Chandler?
I'm talking to.
Okay. So when do we expect to get that done? Family's asking me, so.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I can tell you about it, I'm sure it's in the minutes book probably already, when y'all approve that.
Right.
For Silas Chandler Way or whatever the name.
Couple months ago.
But my files, and I think I told you the other day, when we changed out the computers and stuff, I hadn't been able to locate some of those files, but if nothing else, we can pull it out of the minute book and it'll tell us exactly what's supposed to be. And I think it's Silas Chandler Way.
I think it was, but if,
Yeah.
can we get that kind of rolling tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, and our second question is, have you seen any results from our watershed feasibility study? Because I got a question from Chris Gant that we should have received something by now. And I canvassed my email and I didn't see anything
I haven't seen
remotely close.
No, I'll check to see what they think of it. The other thing that I've got, a recommendation for 2 hires, Thomas Collins and
What department, what job?
Water Department.
Water department, what is it, just labor?
Labor.
Thomas Collins. What do I hear?
I'll make a motion to have Thomas Collins lay water department.
Second. It's been moved properly second. Any discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye.
Aye.
Opposers? So ordered.
The second individual, Montreal Collins, for the Water Department. Labor.
What do I hear?
Motion, we have Montreal Collins, labor at the water department.
Second.
Moved second. Any discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye. Opposers? So ordered.
I would like to caveat, we're still waiting on the background check to come back. But it'd be contingent on that, and all background check comes out okay, they follow up with the drug test. And I'll keep you advised what's going on.
Awesome. Any questions for CAO Jones? Do you have anything additionally to add? Anything, is that it?
Unless you want me to talk, I don't want to talk.
You done good. Anything else claim my attention before I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for an executive session to discuss legal matters.
Okay, there's a motion to close the regular meeting to determine the need for executive session, which I think there is. Moving second, any discussion? All in favor by sign of vote aye. Any opposers?
Thank you.